Good afternoon, everyone. Nice to see you on screen, but even nicer to see everybody in the room. Well, I'll say all 5 people in the room. So try and make an effort, those who are living quite near, next time to come and see us face to face. So we'll start the meeting now. Agenda item 1, apologies for absence.
Yeah, I got apologies from Alex Bahari, Adrian Raby, Christine Morell and David Price-Steer.
Thank you. Agenda item 2, disclosures of personal and prejudicial interest. Nothing. Have everybody read the minutes? Have you? Right.
Yes.
Would you like to approve the minutes? Would somebody like to approve the minutes? Thank you. Agenda item 4. I'd like to say a few things about Armed Forces Day and a little bit about the air show, and then anybody else can say about the air show. Armed Forces Day again was sorry, Elliot. Armed Forces Day was a great success again, held on the Guildhall Rotunda. And I think the veterans are very happy that it happens on the day, not after. And I think everybody was pleased, and I hope everyone else that hasn't told me were pleased. I think we'll continue to do that now because it is the right day and the right thing to do for veterans and armed forces. As for the air show, that was excellent. Great to be back. Nice to see so many stands with the military, and the show was great. I don't know whether we may have to do something else towards the armed forces because it was a bit flat after we given our speech. So we'll have to look into that. But apart from that, everything was great. And I think David Price-Steer have said something. You haven't sent it to you, have you? I think he emailed.
Yeah, David's not here today, but he's just confirming that the dates for next year are the 1st and 2nd of July. That's all, so people can pencil them in.
And he said it was a success as well. So have anybody got anything to say about the Armed Forces Day or the air show?
From a Swansea Veterans Hub point of view, we had a successful day. We had 100 people visit the hub. We had a free barbecue on there. So we had £260 in donations given. Everybody enjoyed themselves. Lord Lieutenant West Morgan came down. She enjoyed herself as well. So it was a good day for us.
Good.
Thank you.
I would have been over there, except I didn't realise I had to be walked from the cenotaph past the slip in heels. So I couldn't even walk another step when I got back. So I would have been over there. But I did give a donation and I'm glad it went down well. So maybe next time. Anybody else? No? Thank you. Yeah. Oh, Phil. See, I can't see you. Phil? Phil, you're on mute.
Thank you for that. Can I just confirm that the date for Armed Forces Day next year is Saturday, the 24th of June?
Thank you. Is that all?
Yeah. Did you confirm that then? Because I lost you for a second.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
great. Okay, thanks.
On you meekly. Bethan?
Hello. No, I couldn't hear you then. I can hear you now, though. Just quickly, yeah, I attended the show with my family. It was a fantastic day, as always. I'm great to have it back. Just to let you all know that the most recent June issue of the Armed Forces Covenant newsletter has gone around. Send it out again. I'm not sure if it has been distributed, but there's no harm in doing it again. Also, I'm currently working on the strengthening the Covenant Trust, the last money that we put out a couple of months ago. to get some more money out to lots of the local groups. This time it's looking likely that we're going to focus on marketing. So I'm getting the paperwork ready for that so that can be shared when it's done, and it needs to go to legal just to be checked with terms and conditions, etc. That's it really for me at the moment. I'm looking forward to for the Armed Forces Remembrance Festivals and events that are going on in November. So if anybody's got any ideas or wants to get in touch with anything or any help needed, just let me know. So yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Bethan. Victoria?
Can I just say, Beth, and I haven't had that thing. I haven't had anything from you since the beginning of June, but also...
Yeah, sorry,
Well,
Victoria, because we haven't had an Armed Forces, we haven't had an Armed Forces champion at the moment in Port Talbot. I think it's been sorted this week. So our forums and things haven't continued yet. So we should have had one in May, but hopefully they'll be back up and running soon. That's the reason why we haven't really had anything being shared at the moment.
Okay, great. And the other thing was, we had our clinical network meeting, but you weren't there. So are you on our list to come, to be invited?
I am. Well, I don't think I could attend the last one. I did send apologies to Anna.
Okay, brilliant. Fabulous. Okay. Thank you.
No worries.
Thank you, Victoria. Anyone else with that? No. Okay. Agenda item 6, Captain Hugh Williams.
Good afternoon, Councillor Lewis and everyone else. It's good to see you all. I'm in scruff order at the moment. I've just got back from a funeral, so that's why I couldn't get down in person. Okay, got a little bit of a change of format because it is an MOD update. So myself and a couple of the other MOD single service heads have got ourselves together so that we can give a little bit more of a MOD-wide brief on what is happening in and around the Swansea area, but also wider across Wales. So in the chamber with yourselves at the moment, I can see Lieutenant Commander Andy Davis. So as the senior service, the Royal Navy always go first. So Andy will give a short brief then I'll jump in and give an army brief. And then I've got a few notes then from 614 Squadron RAF down in St. Athan, and I'll cover their points as well. Okay, so I'll hand over to Andy for now.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. Update about HMS Scott. She sailed now for a 12-month deployment, affiliated obviously to Swansea. She's got another couple of years left, so it's good that she's back at sea. I'm not sure if there's any plans for her to come to Swansea, but hopefully she does before she pays off. She's out at sea now, surveying the ship, surveying the world, getting the data which supports the critical for UK defence requirements. On a different note, Warsaw Govia can't come today, but he wanted to pass on that 50 members of the Osprey squad and staff are going down to Portsmouth in August for pre-season team building and training event, utilising the facilities down there, which is good and pleasing. What we, as a sort of senior service, as Hugh mentioned, we've done as collectively. Now, I've got a few caps on, I'll mention to the wider audience. So not only a regular serving, started in HMS Cambria 7 weeks ago. I've got Towie Division in John Chard House, Cambria in Cardiff, but also I'm the chairperson for Swansea Cadets. And so I'm covering sort of all aspects with this, what we've done so far. We supported numerous Falklands 40th anniversary events throughout South Wales. I mentioned about the air show. Thanks for accommodating the Sea Cadets at short notice. It's good that we were down there with our colleagues, and just a plea for next year, if we can have a similar area next to our colleagues, but maybe a little bit bigger, so we can get some of the dinghies and canoes down, which would be brilliant. We're here for the Armed Forces flag raising, but next year, if we can have more RN, R&R and Sea Cadets at present as well, I think that'll be good. There was a request for a guard to be provided, but that can be fulfilled by the West Wales district. I personally attended the Armed Forces community event at Park of Scarlets last Thursday, which was good. In terms of the Sea Cadets, they've been to the Vintage Car Show this year and the half marathon, always looking for events to try and raise some money, plus also try and bolster the numbers post-pandemic. And the Lord Lieutenant came to visit the cadets in April to present some awards, and it's planned now. The Lord Lieutenant and Lord Mayor will be attending the 25th of July to do the Queen's Platinum Jubilee medals and certificates. Also, we look forward to the rest of the year. There'll be attendance at the Royal Welsh Show, 18th to 21st of July. Keen to be involved as much as we can, obviously subject to numbers for the Festival of Remembrance in the Brangwyn Hall, if there is one. Obviously, the parade on the Sunday down St Mary's, and poppy selling as required. I know HMS Cambria is at the Freedom of the City for Swansea. Just that you may have heard that it was planned for Cardiff this year. That's no longer achievable, so it's going to be into March, April next year. And in terms of ships visits, there's nothing programmed in, but as soon as Intel suggests that there is a visit, I will pass on to the right forum to let everyone know and get a grey ship back in Swansea. That's it from me. Thank you.
Just to say about HMS Scott, I had a Skype call with the commander who assured me that HMS Scott was going to come in the bay so I could go on. So hopefully, fingers crossed, I know they've got hard work in front of them and I follow them all the way. But I think they will. I just think they will.
Okay. Cheers for that, Andy. That's a cracking update, mate. Thank you very much. And Wendy, I do hope you get onto the ship. It would be great for you. So from an army perspective, now this is our update. So the previous events, a lot of them have been covered off. One that was missed out was the Armed Forces Covenant signatory ceremony in the Swansea.com stadium there. This was well attended. But I think there's more scope to get other organisations that can become members of the Armed Forces Covenant. And I think that's something that we can all sort of engage with to try and pull people through. Armed Forces Week this year was quite a busy one. We attended events in Neath, Port Talbot and Swansea, but then also further afield down into Pembroke Dock and the likes of down there as well as a regiment. What we do need to do, and I think is Andy raised it there, we need to ensure that there is representation from all the uniformed services organisations. And to achieve that, we need early notification so that we can inform, one, the military, but two, the cadet organisations as well. But also for me then to be able to submit the PMEs, the public military events paperwork through to the South Wales Police so that we have a adequate police presence as well, and a search has also been conducted, and I need a minimum of 6 weeks to submit that into the police. The air show, it was my first one. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. It really was. It ran really smoothly. We got some good support from lots of military units and not just local based units as well. So one Royal Welsh came across from Tidworth yeah, which was good. I will try and get more units in from now on, though. We did have quite a few charities pull out of the Covenant marquee, and I think that was because of the event that we had down in Port Talbot. Quite a few of them came down with illness after that, which is a pity. And then the last point that did get raised at the air show was military charities having to pay site fees. For an example, the Royal Marines charity, benevolence charity, they had to pay £380 for a pitch, and they only raised £84 in total from charity donations, so they're out of pocket quite significantly there. Plus then the charity needed to pay for the two ladies' wages who attended as well. So I think that's something we need to have a look at and potentially request that these sorts of organisations are also put within the Covenant marquee, because they're all signatories of the Covenant. So one to have a chat about as well. So the other events that were carried out, there was the Armed Forces Day up in Wrexham, which again was a great success. And all three services were involved in the receipt, movement and delivery of the Queen's Baton Relay to celebrate the Commonwealth Games. So what have we got coming up? Same as the Royal Navy and the RAF, the Royal Welsh Agricultural Show in a week's time. So we're up there now building that, getting it ready, and also stagging on throughout the nights just to make sure that all our kit and equipment is safe and sound. As a regiment, we deploy over to Germany in the middle of September to the beginning of October on our annual continuous training exercise. So that's a fortnight out in Germany, deploying across the North Sea. That's the route that we're going to go this time, across into Holland, and then drive along certain routes to get us across into Senilager, where there's quite a large mountain base there. And as Bethan rightly pointed out, a lot of our focus at the moment now is starting to look towards Remembrance Sunday and all the commemorations that we hope will take place in both Neath, Port Talbot and Swansea. Longer term, and I think we need to start looking a little bit further into the distance. 2023, the Armed Forces Week celebrations, the city that will celebrate those in 23 will be Newport. And then in 2024, the city that will represent Armed Forces Week will be Swansea. Okay, so that's a big one to look forward to, and I'll cover that in a little bit more detail at the end of the briefing. As a unit, we have 5 personnel deploying, or they've deployed up into Birmingham to support Op Unity, which is the Commonwealth Games. So we've got some of our soldiers up there. I tried to get all the numbers from the 160 Brigade units, but they couldn't provide me that detail. And also 160 Brigade, they are working closely with Race Council Cymru and the African Community Centre, which are both Swansea-based charities. And they're also supporting the council's LGBT and various coffee mornings. So that's from 160 Brigade. What I'll do now, I'm just going to switch my screen to find the other email to bring up the air update. And Phil, at the end, mate, if you want to give a cadets RAF cadet update, mate, that'd be appreciated.
Yeah, we'll do.
Cheers, buddy. So I've got from squadron leader Adam Davis. He's the executive officer for 1614 Auxiliary Squadron down at St. Athan. So they are past events. So they looked at the Queen Platinum Jubilee event, where the squadron personnel attended this at Cardiff Bay on the 2nd of June, along with the National Parade in London on the 5th of June. So they had representation there as well. They had a full Armed Forces Week with squadron personnel attended various events across South Wales. And they were also at the Wales National Air Show, with 8 personnel on a squadron stand in the event's military village, engaging with the public. Okay, from their perspective, the show was a massive success for both PR and recruiting, and local media used a great number of the articles published by the 614 Squadron Media Flight, who covered the event. So the RAF also saw that as a massive win. Future events for themselves, again tied in with the Royal Navy and ourselves, is the Royal Welsh Agricultural Show. So they're up there, but they're only there for a shorter period, the 18th to 21st of July. They're at the Cairo Cheriton Memorial event on the 6th of August, and they are part of the South Asian Heritage Celebration event to be held in Cardiff on the 6th of August as well. And also their focus is looking towards preparing for the Remembrance Sunday and commemorations across South Wales. The squadron, it continues to concentrate on promoting the squadron, the RAF Reserves and the RAF in Wales. And in particular is focusing on its long-term goals of increasing our female and BAME numbers through establishing and maintaining relations with relevant organisations and committees. So that's the RAF update. I'll hand over now to Phil to give the RAF cadets update as well.
Thanks, Hugh. Can I also congratulate Hugh for the amount of work he put into the air show? I don't think anybody's mentioned it so far, but it was absolutely outstanding. I know there's a big team of people involved, but Hugh's part of that was pivotal to its success. So I think that should be said, certainly by myself, and I'm sure everybody else that went there. In relation to the cadet forces, especially the Royal Air Force Air Cadets, we can't use COVID as an excuse now, so we've really sort of hit the ground running, providing as many sort of outside activities as we can to engage with these 12 to 17-and-a-half-year-olds. And I'm pleased to say that our cadet numbers have risen from around 300 to 600, and particularly during the air show, we did exceptionally well in relation to recruiting, and we had quite a few assets there. And yeah, although we had to set it out all up on the Friday night and then take it down because of the high winds, we were back there early on the Saturday morning to do it all again. But it's character building. So we've managed to bring in outside climbing for the cadets in 3 parts of southwest Wales, which is Wolfcastle, Portaina, and Porthcawl. We've also opened a clay target range in conjunction with the Southwest Police and the RAF. So we've got our own insured MOD range within the confines of West Glamorgan. It's in the boundary of the city and county of Swansea, and that's running really well. It's got to be disciplined, obviously, but the cadets are there. And I recently wrote to the Sea Cadets and the Army Cadets for a meeting with their COs, Bobby Gray and Simon Oglesby, to see how we could intermingle really as cadet forces and utilise each other's assets, because I think that's the way we need to be going. We had a grant for £6,500 from the council over the winter period for the Winter of Fun, which was encouraging young people to be more involved in physical activity. So that's gone down well. We weren't successful in the grant for the summer, but I'm sure we'll try again and keep on trying. We've also got the canoeing and the kayaking, other forms of shooting, horse riding, and as many outside activities as we can sort of offer these youngsters. And if we haven't got the instructors, then we need to broaden our horizons to give them more sort of continued professional development and buy these assets in. We don't like cadets paying for things because a lot of them originate from disadvantaged backgrounds, but if we need to do that, then we must. And we recently used the St Maddox Christian Centre, which is located down in Llangenneth on the Gower, and that was an awesome facility because you're virtually on your own, and it provided 80 cadets with a massive wide range of outdoor activities. On the other hand, being sat inside doing sort of different exams that they have to do and other training. So we were really lucky with the weather, as was the air show, so that went well. We had a cadet selected to carry the Queen's Jubilee sort of torch on the weekend. That was good. And we've had an immense amount of cadets going away for gold cyber training. We've had flying scholarships in Scotland, and we've got 46 cadets away at summer camp this year. When you're considering we've got 600 cadets in the whole of southwest Wales, and there's about 100 to 200 in West Glamorgan in itself, then 46 cadets provided by the RAF is quite low. Hence the reason we're trying to push for as much outside activity for the cadets as possible. We also raised about £1,600 for the Poppy Appeal and about £4,000 for the Wings Appeal recently, and we've assisted in the half marathon in Swansea, and we've got the Ironman, the Gower Show, and the Swansea 10K coming up as well. So we're going to take a leaf out the Army Cadets books, and much to the disappointment of my squadron commanders, I've got 24 squadrons. We all meet regularly once a month to share ideas and everything. So rather than us have 10 cadets up, we end up with 50 or 60, which is exactly what the Army Cadets do, and they're really, really good at it. The Battle of Britain Sunday service in Swansea will be held at St Hilary's Church in Killay, and that's on Sunday the 11th of September, and I'll send out details in relation to that. And remembrance, I'm just finalising the full dates for remembrance, and I'll send those through to Wendy and her colleagues to pass that out. So post-COVID we're doing really well, but a lot of work, and we're finding that a lot of the volunteers are more happy to utilise their weekends for their family and friends and other activities rather than get more involved with the cadets. So it is still a bit of a challenge. Thank you, Hugh.
That's a brilliant update, Phil. Thank you very much, mate, and thanks for the kind words, buddy. Everyone from either a dark blue, a light blue, or green perspective really did put a good shoulder to the wheel there to get that air show as good as it could. So just to close off a couple of points. So as I mentioned, 2024 sees the Armed Forces Week celebrations coming into Swansea. So this is from Headquarters 160 Brigade up in Brecon. They propose that the air show and Armed Forces Day celebrations are combined that year. Okay, this will enable more tracked items to be given to the city. So instead of one band, we could potentially get 2 or 3 bands. military bands. So it's something we should start to look at now and get our heads together and look at it. I've looked at the diary. I might be wrong, but I'm looking at it being the 6th and 7th of July, 2024. If it's the first weekend in July, that drifts quite a bit from the normal Armed Forces Week, but I can speak with 160 Brigade about that. And a proposal at the moment that myself, Andy and Stephen Fry got our heads together last week was to do some form of military festival on the evening of the Saturday night. Brangwyn Hall or St Helens Rugby Ground. These are just a couple of propositions at the moment. So that's that one there. And then for all of you, or all the organisations that are there at the moment dialing in, we are here as a military community to support the city. Please use us, okay? To use us and to give us as much notification, as I mentioned earlier, 6 weeks lead in I need. Passage of information is key. 223 Squadron and 157 Regiment is the lead unit for military and civilian engagement in the Swansea and West Wales area. Any requests, send them to me, okay, at 223 Squadron, and then I will get that information out to the right agencies, hopefully in good time, so that they can prepare and we can meet everything then that we want to achieve and that you want us to represent as well. So I'll get it out to the Royal Navy, to the Army, to the RAF, to all the cadet organisations, etc. Okay, so that's just a plea. Send the stuff to us and we'll get it distributed. Okay. Anybody got any feedback on that for myself? I hope that wasn't too long, Councillor Lewis, but I really do think we need to get a good broad spectrum from all three services and the cadet organisations as well. And it shows yourself and the other panel members then of how busy everyone is and the good work that they do, particularly the cadet organisations, because it keeps the youngsters off the streets, stops them being little nuisances and gives them something to focus on and hopefully get a career in the military or another uniformed service. Okay, that ends the briefing from the MOD. Thank you.
Thank you, Hugh. I think that was the longest MOD report we've had since I've been Armed Forces Champion. So excellent. Everything you said was exciting and really good. And thank you to Andy and Phil for their update. Anybody got any questions for any the three of them? No? We'll move on then. Agenda item 7, Swansea Bay Health Board. Steve?
Yes, Chair, I can start, but I can see that my colleague Victoria is in the room, so I'll let her cover her important area of veterans NHS Wales.
Okay.
So we had our Armed Forces Forum meeting the last time on the 25th of May past. Next one's due on the 8th of September. We started with a very engaging presentation from one of Swansea Bay's one of our colleagues from Swansea Bay, who's been a reservist for many years, and he gave a presentation on his life as a reservist, but also the fact he was recently been on a 3-month mobilisation with the Royal Navy Reserves, working with the ambulance service. So that was very interesting. We were unable to get our normal update from the artificial limb service. The individuals, colleagues concerned, weren't able to attend, so that's been deferred until the next meeting. And something I've talked about before, the workforce survey that we plan. We know that a large number of our colleagues are former servicemen or women or reservists. But we don't know exactly how many, and it's quite difficult to get the information governance set up to ask that question. But the survey is now ready, and we're getting the final sign off on the governance for that, and then we'll be able to distribute it and get some valuable data. The rest of the meeting was devoted to the Veterans NHS Wales, and I'll let Victoria talk to it, except that, not to spare her blushes, we had a very inspiring patient story from one of the people that Victoria is supporting, who is a twice a veteran, I think, if I recall well, and who's had some tough times, but who was very grateful for the support that Victoria's been providing. But I'll let her go into that, should she wish, but also into the rest of the update from Veterans NHS Wales.
Thank you, Steve, and apologies because I'm going to show it again today. So those of you who have seen it already, please bear with me. I'll just give you a very quick update from Veterans NHS Wales. We had our clinical network meeting on June the 2nd. Our next one is due on the 22nd of September. We hold it face to face now in the Bulldogs. So if you are interested in coming, please let us know. It's a great opportunity to find out what's happening in our local area, and just to make sure that all the services that are providing support, that we're all working together and we're all doing the same thing. We have had 23 referrals in the last 3 months, and of those 23, we had 19 people opt into the service. So just because you've been referred into our service doesn't necessarily mean you're going to take that opportunity for to come and see us. So the fact that we've got that ratio is quite a high ratio. We're quite pleased about that. So, but our waiting list is looking very healthy at the moment. So we aim to see people within a couple of months of coming on to being assessed by us, which is fabulous. Another update, I attended the Armed Forces event with the Wave a couple of weeks ago, and I was asked to do a presentation. That seemed to go down quite well. And that was quite a good event as well. We had 3 referrals from that event, which we're always pleased to see. And the other thing to let you know is that we're about to do some research, so a clinical trial on EMDR for combat trauma. So if you've got any veterans who've been involved in combat trauma who you think may benefit from this trial, we're looking at comparing EMDR therapy online versus in person. So we know that we know that EMDR is a good treatment for combat trauma. I've been using it for years, and this one is going to just clarify whether it actually what the evidence tells us, and if there is a possibility of it being done online as well. So we've completed the training for that. We've done all the other bits we need. We're just waiting for it to get going, and then we'll be starting to see people. That's enough from me. I am going to try and share my video. Is it all right that I share this? Can everyone see that?
Yes.
Yeah, that's up now. When? Yeah.
Bro, I'll play it now.
I started off as a reservist by Logistics Corps in Swansea, and then as time went on, the option for deployment came up, so I volunteered to join 13th Air Assault in Colchester. So I was processed then into the regular army. We trained all over the UK, ready for our deployment to Afghanistan. September 2010, we deployed. After the deployment, you get post-operational to relief, so that's 6 weeks. Came back to Swansea, and then it's extremely strange, if I'm honest, because you've gone from being part of a section, being part of the team, to literally, I came home from Afghanistan, say for argument's sake, the flight was on a Monday and I was in my house on a Wednesday. The difference from not having a weapon, not having a team, nobody trying to kill you, no IEDs, no small arms fire, no ambushes. All of a sudden, like, life is just in an instant, it's different. So I spent 6 weeks, pretty much on my own, cleaning the house, walking the dogs. It was, super fit, to be honest, because I had nothing to do. I didn't know what to do with myself, completely lost. After the 6 weeks, what it is with the reserves, you then go back into normal work. So I was working in Tesco at the time, so I then went back into that environment. I didn't do well. Things had changed physically, psychologically as well. I didn't feel part of anything, and believe it or not, there's a lot of sarcastic comments. You're back in the real world now. This is where the real work's done, and no more holidaying in Afghanistan. And where's your tan? And I was trying to deal with things going on, getting back into normal life. I was trying to deal with some of the stuff that happened when we were in Afghanistan. I was easily triggered, so they decided the best thing was to put me in the warehouse. So I just didn't feel it belonged at all. When an option of a second tour came up, I just jumped at it straight away.
Sorry, Victoria, I muted you by mistake. Victoria, can you unmute yourself?
Place where 5-6-year-old children missing limbs, they're dying, they're starving, just a world apart, you know. Those kids didn't have anything, you know, they were walking barefoot on jagged rock. Part of that, I wanted me to go back as well, because I wanted to go back. I felt like there's unfinished business with the Taliban. Same thing again, went through the whole process. And then I deployed. I struggled in camp, struggled in normal civvy street. I didn't like it. But then I told Victoria Williams, NHS therapist, the minute the plane landed back in Helmand and I stepped off, it was just, I can't describe the relief. I was so comfortable and so happy to be back there. It was just felt like a massive weight had been lifted off me. I was a section commander then, so I was a corporal. There was about 40 odd, 50 of us in the troop, and it was like a giant family. It was amazing, you know. And some of these kids that have come from broken homes and they had nothing, so they joined the army, and all of a sudden they had a family. Towards the end of the tour, it got quite depressing because a lot of these people didn't want to go home. Believe it or not, we were the family they had. All of a sudden, I was one of the oldest there, so all of a sudden you're like a father figure. You just want the best for them, but at the same time you want them to go home because you don't want them to stay there and get hurt. Towards the end, I was just completely burnt out. I just had nothing left at all. I loved my job. I was good at my job, and because I looked after my guys and girls, they returned what I gave them, you know. The last 2 weeks was just pains in my chest, palpitations, fatigue. I just couldn't take it anymore. And I was actually seen clutching my chest early hours of the morning, and then I was reported and I was sent up to the hospital. And the doctor in the hospital said, if you carry on like this, you're going to drop. Got back to the UK. We did sit down with someone to give us a mental health brief. And they did say to us that if you need help, you have to stay here in Nottingham. You can't go home, you can't see your families, you can't see your friends, because there's no like psychologists, whatever you're at the moment. You'll have to go on guard duty, you'll have to work until they come back. They said, if you sign this piece of paper, you can go home. So the last thing you want to do is be in a 6-man room on top of each other, trying to unwind from tour. It's more detrimental. So we came home. Again, I had lots of trouble adjusting to normal life. You know, there's things we have to avoid, you know, looking out for IEDs constantly. You can't just switch it off. Walking the dogs somewhere one day, and there's a loud bang. It's quite a deep, deep bang. And I can remember shouting to my wife, don't move, stand still. Could be a secondary device, stay where you are. And I'm looking for firing points then. Where's the small arms fire going to come from? And there was nothing there. I can remember looking at my wife. You could see the distress on her face. And then I again went back into working Tesco again. I was having a lot of trouble there. I got suspended. I was struggling with my family as well. My reaction to things was not healthy. So my wife said, look, you need to get help. She found the Veterans NHS Wales. Do you know, I'll be honest, I just thought, what can they do? They can't do anything. It's going to be a waste of time. My wife came with me halfway there, walking through the quadrant in town. I had a meltdown, but she got me there. Then I was taken on by Victoria Williams. I realised that they do know what they're on about. They do care. This lady invested so much time in me. She never once gave up on me. That treatment was and is just completely life-changing. My wife started seeing massive differences in my behaviour, the way I was. Everything just started improving. Relationships started getting better with different things, different people. I can't express how vital that service was. Veterans NHS Wales has been that one solid structure through everything. The work they do there is just phenomenal. I'm just so happy that my wife got me there and that I gave it a chance.
Any questions?
Victoria, I haven't
Yeah.
got a question. I'm just amazed at what you do. You know that when you were at the Forces for Change up in the Swansea.com, and we couldn't see that video. You couldn't show that video, and it's not about you. It's not about what you think you were doing is so good. It's the outcome when someone like that can talk about you like that. I think you're amazing, and just what the work you do, and I hope you can carry on doing that work and helping. I think I know Mike. I think I know him from Tesco, so I've seen him. So I'm glad he's getting the help and he's sorted his life out, because that is when I speak to veterans, that is a big part of what they feel when they come out and have been to Iraq or Afghanistan looking for things, can't go in the toilet, can't do this. And we don't understand, as you know, we just Joe Public, we don't understand what they've gone through. Well, I hope I do now a bit more. But thank you, Victoria. Have anybody got any questions or would like to make Victoria's head a bit bigger? No? Thank you, Victoria. And thank you, Steve. Thank you, Steve. Agenda item 8, supporting pupils. Yasmin?
Thank you, Councillor Lewis. Yeah, Victoria, that video is incredible. I think that's the second time I've seen it, and it's amazingly powerful, and yeah, amazing work that you're doing with the veterans, and seeing that's really fantastic. There's only a couple of bits from me really today. We have officially launched our Armed Forces Friendly Schools Cymru status, and I'm really pleased to say that Ponta de Lais Primary School are more than likely going to be the first school in Swansea to receive that. So just to remind you of what the status is about, it's all about embedding good practice in schools. So the schools are using our SSE Cymru school checklist to basically choose actions and activities that are most appropriate to them as a school to embed within the school and make sure that our service children are supported there. We want to create that really positive environment for them to share their experiences, opportunities for them to come together with other service children within the schools, within the local authority as well, and just really encourage them to further engage with our armed forces community. So Ponta de Lais have been doing some amazing work recently to really get that good practice and those systems and support embedded into the school really. So I'm hoping we'll get it all tied away by the end of this week. I'm going up to see them tomorrow. They're hosting a coffee afternoon for their service families. So again, just an opportunity for those families to come together, meet each other, because lots of the families there actually don't realise that there's any other service families within the school, so they can kind of build themselves a little bit of a support network, opportunity for the children to build their friendships as well. And then I think the plan is from sort of next year, from a local authority perspective, is to really try and develop that cluster work, because at least half of our schools in Swansea only do have 1 or 2 service children. So we're really keen to make sure that that provision's there for them, and that the families know that there's other service families out there, and the children can also build on their friendships as well and their support network. So yeah, really positive work going on there. And if you don't know much about Armed Forces Friendly Schools Cymru and you want to hear more about it and maybe how you can get involved from an armed forces community perspective, please just drop me an email and we can have a chat about it, because it's really, really exciting. I'm so pleased to see the uptake across Wales. We launched in April, and already we've had 7 schools from across Wales actually achieve their status, and we've got some more in the waiting. So really, really pleased with the uptake there. We are also going to be hosting a summer of fun for our service families. So that's going to be in collaboration with Forces Fitness. So it's very much in the planning stages at the moment. Sean and Ria from Forces Fitness are going to be securing a venue this week. So it is going to be quite a quick turnaround. But again, if you want to get involved in that or anything that you can do to support our service families and some activities that you could do with the children, please drop me an email, because I'd love for you to get involved. The stuff that we've got planned for them over the sort of 3 days is sort of military style command tasks, some team building, dodgeball, basketball, that sort of thing, health and wellbeing quizzes as well. We'll have obstacle courses for the children themselves, and then also for their families to get involved in, which will be really lovely, and just something nice to get involved in over the summer to keep the kids busy, because we know that keeping kids occupied over 6 weeks can be quite challenging and expensive. So yeah, I'll keep you posted, and if you can, again, share that across your networks. It's obviously open to all our service community, our armed forces community there as well. So yeah, lots of exciting things to go on over the summer, and I'll keep you posted on locations for the children as well. In terms of our service children numbers, we have 167 service children within the local authority across 53 schools. And again, as I've said, at least half of those have only got 1 or 2 children in them. So really keen in the next year to build on the cluster work that goes on in Swansea and really ensure that those schools with 1 or 2 children are accessing, 1, the funding, and 2, the support that's available from myself as a regional school liaison officer. I'll keep you posted on those plans as they kind of develop in the new academic year. From a data perspective, Swansea have actually set up their own processes for collecting that data, so that should be a little bit easier for us moving forward and making sure that we've got a really clear picture of where our children are across the local authority. And then, yeah, finally, just to make you aware that the SSE Cymru summer newsletter is available. And just for future reference, if you've got any updates or anything that you would like to include in there, please obviously get in touch with us and we can include your updates in there and add you to our mailing list as well, so you're not missing out on information about our service children and the sort of activities and things we're getting up to support them across Wales. And yeah, that's it from me. Thank you, Councillor Lewis.
Thank you, Yasmin, for the update. Anybody got any questions? Hugh?
Yeah, cheers. Thanks, Councillor Lewis. Hi, Yasmin. Just one. So we focus on the regular soldiers and service personnel's families. What about the reservists? So we've got boys and girls, deployed. They went out with the Welsh Ambulance Service Trust. They're now up on Opportunity doing Commonwealth Games. Yes, it's not fighting and biting, but it is still deployed away from their families and the likes of. Are we capturing reservist figures as well? Perhaps that's something we could look into as well.
Yes, we are. It's a little bit trickier because I think sometimes some of our reservists don't necessarily identify themselves, but we do have tools and letters that we encourage our schools to send out, which has got both full-time and part-time reservists covered on that. So it's just about obviously encouraging the families to tick those boxes. So yeah, they are covered, and we do try our best to capture that.
Brilliant. Thank you.
That's all right. If there's anything you can do to help me with that as well, yeah, please let me know, because obviously we want to have as much of an accurate picture as we can.
No, definitely. Yeah, I think we'll have a chat and see how we can move that forward that way. Yeah.
Thank you, Hugh.
Thank you both. Agenda item 9, update from panel members. Have anybody got any updates?
Thank you, Councillor. Phil Jones, good afternoon, everyone, from Swansea Veterans Hub. Update from us. So obviously we're all official, we're launched now. Probably the most important thing to take away from what I say now is we're open Saturdays 10 till 12 at St Helens Rugby Ground for a drop-in. Please feel free to encourage veterans, serving personnel and their families down. Very, very informal, but we have got signposting in place if veterans need it. As Wayne mentioned earlier, the airshow was a great success. Almost 100 veterans and their families through the doors, which was great to see, and it was very well received. The feedback was fantastic. We've got some events coming up to support the community, the armed forces community, and veterans. The main thing that I want to sort of stress and engage with others on the panel is Remembrance Sunday. The feedback and what's coming from veterans in Swansea is that they want to do more. They want to take more of a lead into the day. And our sort of rough plan, our brief plan at the moment is we're going to open the hub up on Remembrance Sunday before the parade for a breakfast roll, etc., and then open it up afterwards so veterans can gather. Because what tends to happen is veterans and their families tend to bomb burst afterwards, and it's hard work to sort of get everyone sort of together and sort of be a veteran community. I've struggled for years to do it, so hopefully that can happen. What I would like to do, though, is offer our support to Phil. I know the cadet forces do a fantastic job on the day, and it's always well received. But we certainly want to get involved and support where we can. So please, as soon as possible, if we can maybe include myself or one of the board within the planning meetings. I think that would be a nice thing to do, and then again, like I say, use us and use our facilities on the day. That's the Swansea Veterans hat, the SoFit Health and Wellbeing hat. We do have a summer of fun program just launched, and we will have military days on that as well. Timetable I'll forward later on, but again, we'll be engaging with local units, Military Preparation College, hopefully be down, and we'll be doing a fun sort of armed forces themed day there. What else is there? Also engaging with Victoria and Veterans Wales to hopefully do a trial on wellbeing services to help support some of their clients as well. And I think that's it.
Thank you, Phil. Any questions for Phil? John?
Oh, sorry, mine isn't a question for Phil. I was going to do my own update, so I'll hang fire.
I don't think there's anybody else, so you carry on.
Oh, great. Well, thank you, everyone. It's really really good to be here. I wish I was there in person. I look forward to getting back behind the table with you guys. So I'm the head of public affairs and campaigns at the Legion. I was the Welsh public affairs manager for the Legion, but I'm acting up while someone's on maternity leave. We'll have a new person hopefully attending meetings going forward, but we haven't quite recruited them yet. So we'll keep you posted on that. But I just wanted to say the Legion's doing a manifesto for the next general election. It's planned in 2024, but you never know. So if anyone's got any suggestions for policies that they think the Legion should be campaigning on, please get in touch with me. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Any questions? No, can't see anybody. Okay. Thank you all for attending. That's the end of the meeting. We got a date. The next meeting will be Monday, 10th of October at 2 p.m. Try and get, if people aren't too far away, be nice to see you all inside. Emma?
I do apologise. I started the meeting late, but I just wanted to say before I leave, thank you to everyone who took part in the Wales Air Show, in particular Captain Hugh Williams, who was a massive help in coordinating all the military ground assets. We really do appreciate it. And to, of course, to everybody else who attended on the day. So I just wanted to say thank you very much.
Thank you, Emma, and I hope you're having a break.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody, and see you soon. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.